So our first speaker is Maru Nihoniho from Metia Interactive. So Maru is the managing director at Metia Interactive, and it's an award-winning game design studio. And she's the game designer behind the development of Sparks, which many of you may know. It's an interactive game based on cognitive behavioural therapy designed to help young people manage their depression. Sparks was a success and went on to win 2 international awards, a United Nations World Summit Award and a UNESCO Natexplo Award. I was wondering how to pronounce that. Natexplo, I'm going to say it is like that. In 2016, Maru was awarded a New Zealand Order of Merit for her work in gaming and mental health, and was recently awarded the Innovator of the Year Award at the 2017 MCV Pacific Women in Games Awards from Xbox. So lots of accolades, Maru. And she's also currently studying for a Master's in Technological Futures through the Tech Futures Labs with Francis Valentine. And she's working on a really interesting program to help young people strengthen their awareness in the STEM area. So a lot of accolades, a lot of interesting things to hear from Maru. So please welcome Maru to the stage.
Kia ora, morena. Thank you for the introduction. So, my name's Maru. I'm the Managing Director, Games Designer, Games Producer, ideas person. Well, I work with a team of programmers and artists, and we create games. So we take an idea from concept and bring it through to final delivery on whatever platform that is. So it could be the iPhone or the PlayStation. So I'm going to talk today about a couple of the games that we've released, about to release, and one that we're working on that's in development right now. So these are a few of the games that we've done in the last 14 years. Quite a range across multiple platforms, from PlayStation through to iPad. This is the game we released last month. It's called Māori Power Wars. You can go to the App Store and Google Play and download that now. It's free to play. It's also available in Te Reo Māori. So it's the first game that we've developed that you can play in either English or Māori. And it's a tower defence game, so it's quite a cool little pick up and play in your spare time, full of Māori characters and creatures. It's really fun and looks amazing. If you want to, you can spend some money in that game and upgrade your gods and your creatures and your power sites as well. This game is quite different. I'll give you a little bit of history about this game. The name of the game is called Guardian, and I had this idea about 14 years ago when I started Metia Interactive. This character here, her name is Maya. She's the hero of the story. So at the moment, this game is in development. It's an interactive fiction piece, and it's very story-driven. This is one of the other characters. He's the bad guy. He's the one Maya has big fights with. Actually, this is her, I guess, in their story, this is the big bad guy that just ruins everything. And so Maya's just got to take care of him. We also feature characters based on Māori mythology. So we've taken a unique spin to a patu paerehe, which is a forest fairy, and which is another character in the story. And this one. I can't explain too much about this one because I'll give the story away basically. But Guardian will be released in December before Christmas, and it'll be a free-to-play game as well, so you can just download that. And we were fortunate to be successful in an application to New Zealand Film Commission to help develop this game. So I've shown you a couple of games which are all about fun. pick up and play games, read or play through them. I think the theme that you probably saw through both of those games was there's a Māori twist to them. So Māori Power Wars, of course. You have Māori characters, creatures, and you protect your past life from them. With Guardian, the hero was a Māori woman, and all the themes and mythology wrapped around that are based on Māori culture. So how do we take those fun elements with the Māori culture into education? How do we make fun educational games? The first thing I would say is, don't call a game educational. It's just a game. So this game we're working on at the moment is in development. It's called Tākaro, which means play. It's a game that will introduce young Māori, so rangatahi, to learn and think about coding concepts and systems thinking. So basically it's a game that is going to teach young people not how to code. We're not going to give a tutorial on this is how you write code. It's going to give these young people an understanding about what coding does. So we think that if a young person can understand what code does, they're more likely to follow that pathway into learning more about coding and then move into the technology sector. So what we've done in this game, or what we're doing in this game, is taking coding and reimagining it as plain, simple fun. So how do we make this relevant for Māori? What's going to make them want to play this game? I mean, if you were to show a kid now a game that, and you say to them, look, you're going to learn how to code from this game, they'll probably look at it and say, yeah, maybe another time. But if you give them a game which looks like it's fun, looks like that they're going to enjoy it, and it's relevant for them, then they're more likely to pick it up and give it a go. So that's our point of developing Tākaro. It's presenting our rangatahi with a game that is made especially for them. So how will we do that? By using Māori concepts and perspectives, by using Te Reo Māori, and made with rangatahi, so getting their feedback into what kind of game they'd like to play. And of course there is a two-way learning aspect here. So you learn from the younger learns from the elder. So what is Tākaro? I can't show you the game at the moment because it's in development, but I can tell you what it's about. So we've taken the Māori, matariki. We've taken matariki and incorporated it into Tākaro. So our game is set in outer space, and it's set on a space station. So the space station is called matariki. That features 7 hubs that the player has to work through in order to learn the learning objectives that we put through each level. It also features robotics as well. So it has the fun element, it's a game, and it's relevant to Māori. This is a concept image of how the game will look. So it's about showing kids how they can use coding to manipulate an environment. So basically we have a platform with a cube, so the blue one in the corner is a cube that rolls down the platform, which is controlled by you. But as soon as you get to the terminal where the yellow square is, that's where it switches into kind of like code blocks, Google blocks, if anyone's familiar with that game, where you drag and drop blocks in place to control the robot that will move. And as soon as you've completed that area, it's back into gameplay time. We'll be finished this game in March next year. But we'll be ready for trial in November. So if you're interested, or if you have young people that you know that would be interested in this, giving this game a go, I'll have a link at the end of this presentation. So some of you might be asking, why Māori? Why rangatahi? Why are we focusing on our rangatahi? Well, if you take a look at this, you can see why. Out of all our Māori students studying, only 1% are studying technology. And out of everyone working in technology, only 2.5%, which includes me, of Māori are working in technology. So really underrepresented in this area, but there's so many opportunities there that we can move forward with. So why is this important? You know, why? Why do we have to get Māori into tech? You know, why do it? Well, the Māori population is much younger overall than the general New Zealand population. So we're going to make up a large part of our working population by 2038. So we don't want to have the path that we're on now where, well, we don't want to have all our rangatahi on the path where we're on now, where we get into farming, fishing or forestry, when we can look at the digital industry, such as gaming, internet, anything around the digital industry that we can encourage our rangatahi into now, so that they're ready by the time they're grown up and ready to work. So Tākaro is a game that will give them a pathway. It's about saying, hey, you know, if you can do that, if you can complete these missions in the game, then you can code. It's as easy as that. You'll have to take this game, play it, learn it, and then it's the next step about learning how to write it, or whatever path they decide to take then after that. But if they're not presented with an opportunity, whether it's from me in Tākaro or somewhere else, then they won't know. So why games? You know, why games? Why can't you just teach them in a book or make a movie or a documentary? Well, games, they're interactive, they're fun, you know, they're immersive. You're in control. You can do it at your own pace, in your own time, anywhere. As long as you have an internet connection and a device, then you can access a game and play it. And of course, you tend to remember a lot of what you do, you know, rather than what you read or hear. If you do and you keep doing, you tend to retain those memories. So, just what I was talking about. Because you have to play a game, you have to learn how to analyse. Well, you have to analyse the situation first. So you've got to learn how to problem solve. You know, if you can't problem solve, then you're not going to pass the level of the game. And because the gaming environment provides a perfect environment for you to do that in, then you can make mistakes in the game. The mistakes are that you're not going to progress ahead, and you'll learn. And when you've learnt the wrong way, then you learn the right way. So you manage to get through. So it's all about problem solving and thinking and learning about how to do things, where the systems thinking comes in. And the other reason, the global games market, it's massive, it's huge, and it's growing. They say gaming is taking over the world, probably. But more importantly, educational gaming is a fast-growing market within the industry itself. And I say, people say to me, oh, you make serious games like Sparks and other games like that. And I'm like, yes, they are serious because they have serious content. You know, it's all about sharing knowledge and educating. The thing is, it's like, well, let's just call them games, you know. We don't have to call them educational games. We don't have to call them serious games. They're just games, and you're going to learn something from them. So anyway, in New Zealand last year, for the first time, our turnover, not my turnover, I wish it was my turnover, hit $100 million just in our local market. And that's up 12% from last year, and it'll continue to grow. And 97% of that was from exports. So it's a huge market, you know, and it's growing rapidly, and the opportunities around game development is huge. So I'm making this game Tākaro, and the aim is to offer a pathway for our young people to get into technology, one way or another. So how do I know it'll work? You know, it's one thing to say you're going to make a game for this and that, but how do you know it's actually going to work? Well, a few years ago I developed this game called Sparks. It was a game specially designed for rangatahi. We have, Māori unfortunately have high rates of depression and suicide, so this was an intervention, a tool that our young people can access as well. Based on cognitive behavioural therapy, also featured strongly with Māori themes, and of course targeted towards our young people as well. So this game went through clinical trials. We set up data capture systems within the game, and that data was analysed, and the results were published in the British Medical Journal. And the results showed that Sparks was just as effective as treatment as usual. So that was a huge, well, it had met its objective. It was huge. It was just saying to young people, hey, if you can't access help because there's a shortage of help in New Zealand, I said, give this game a go, you know. And one of the outcomes from Sparks was that young people were more likely to go and seek help after playing Sparks. So it was another pathway, you know, for our young people to use that would encourage them or give them confidence to go forth and ask for help, you know, get the face-to-face help, because without the tool, you know, kids just had nowhere to go. So it's not the be-all, end-all, but it's a great pathway for our young people to access and use to move into, or to seek help, because that's one of the problems. The young people don't talk to anybody, usually, and they keep it to themselves, and it gets worse and worse and worse. So Sparks worked, and we'll be using very similar data capture systems and analysing the data from Tākaro using a couple of tools here. So we're building our game in Unity, the Unity game engine. We'll be collecting the data from our participants, because Tākaro is going into is part of a research study. It's actually my research project for my master's, and we'll be able to measure the data and be able to say, hey, it works, or hey, it doesn't. You know, hopefully it does. We'll be also using IBM Watson, most likely at this point, to analyse tone and data and everything else. So, yeah, it's all about monitoring player behaviour and just seeing what they do in the game. It also helps us to improve the game if we need to. So if we see someone keeps failing on level 4, you know, and it's a trend that's happening across multiple players, then it's not the fault of the player, it's ours, and we can go back in and fix it, because maybe level 4 is too hard, or maybe there's just something in the way that puts, you know, the young people off. So we can use it not only to measure the data and the analytics that come out of the game, but to help actually improve our game and make it a better experience for the player. So, if you know of any young people that would like to be involved, we go into our first stakeholder group in November, end of November. So that'll be like our alpha, it's a test group. And then after that, March next year, we release to the public. And yeah, we may not release to mobile. It just all depends on how well the research has gone and what we decide to do after that. Yeah. So that's my presentation for today. I hope you enjoyed it and got to see the range of games that we've worked on, but most of all that you see the common thread through all of our games, which is quite Māori focused, and making our games relevant for our rangatahi, for our young people here in New Zealand. Most of all, what benefits Māori, well, I would say what works for Māori will work for everyone. So even though I said I'm developing this game for our rangatahi, if it works for them, it'll work across the board. You know, if it benefits Māori, it'll benefit everyone. And Māori success is New Zealand success. So hopefully I'll be able to keep developing these games and encourage our young people into a space that I am now in. If I was provided that pathway while I was at school, I might have got into game development a lot earlier than what I did, because I'm what they call a tutu fingers, which is like, I like pulling stuff apart and then I can't really put it back together. I try. I'm like, ooh, what does this do? And I'll pull it apart and then I'll be like, right, time to put it back together. So I'm really quite like that myself. I'm very curious, and if I had, and of course I've been playing arcade games since I was about 11 years old. So with the combination of enjoying playing games and having this curiosity about how things work, combined, if someone had said, hey, why don't you get into this, kind of thing, because you'd be quite good at it, it would have been fantastic, and I might have been doing this a lot sooner than what I did, or when I did. So, yeah, thank you.